Good day, everyone. I like to begin this speech by asking you a question. What comes to your mind when you imagine artificial intelligence? It's probably something very futuristic, involving robots, some image from some movie, or a book that you've read. Now, all of this, have you considered that one day it may come to reality? Have you ever considered that one day artificial intelligence may be able to supersede natural intelligence? Good day, everyone. I'm Timothy Paul, and I'm here to talk on the topic making artificial intelligence eclipse natural intelligence through quantum computing. We may not realize it, but we come into contact with, are guided by, and use artificial intelligence almost every day of our lives that we are on the internet. Every Google search suggestion that you get, every YouTube video recommendation that you get is given to you by an AI algorithm. An algorithm is a mathematical equation that dictates how an AI should behave. Now, you may be wondering, with the wonderful pace of AI progress throughout the last decade, will one day artificial intelligence become so intelligent, so powerful, that it becomes more intellectually capable than a human in all regards? Now, an artificial intelligence that is able to do this feat is called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But even with all this progress in the artificial intelligence field, we haven't even come this close to achieving AGI. Why do you think that is? I think that is because of a lack of resources and a lack of computing speed. Both of these issues can be solved by the introduction of quantum computing. Now, what is quantum computing? Quantum computing is a technology that uses the behavior of quantum systems, that is, the behavior of small particles such as atoms, electrons, protons, and neutrons. It uses the behavior of these particles to make a computer. Quite a perplexing subject. Artificial intelligence can benefit immensely from quantum computers because of how quantum computers become much more powerful with added units of computing. Let me explain to you a little bit about what that means. The unit of computing power in a normal computer, like our phones and our laptops, is a bit. A bit can be in two states, on or off, and that is represented by either 0 or 1. And these signals are manipulated by electrical signals. It causes the transistors in the computer or in the mobile phone to go on or off. This is how a normal computer works. In the contrary, quantum computers work with the unit of computing called qubits. Qubits are more infinitely complex to model than normal computers. That is because not only can they be in more than two states, they can be in a combination of two states. And representing them is incredibly complex because to represent them you have to use Dirac notation. In Dirac notation, there are two symbols called the bra and the ket, and these are used to enclose the state of the qubit. It's incredibly complex because there are things called amplitudes, which is how likely are you to find the qubit in a certain state. But what is important for us is that when each qubit is added, the system becomes exponentially faster. With one qubit, it may be as fast as 1 bit, but with 2 qubits, it becomes 4 times as fast. With 3 qubits, 8 times as fast. With 4, 16 times as fast. Just imagine what we can do with 256 qubit computers, which we already have. In fact, some of the big players in this industry, Google and IBM, they have each developed around 200 to 300 qubit computers. Imagine how fast these could be. But even these computers aren't enough to propel us into an age of artificial general intelligence. Now, alright, so within the next 5 years, IBM has promised that we'll have a 1,000 qubit computer. This is extremely significant for AI development because this could help us create an AI that behaves like a human being does. But I asked you another question. Should we make an AI as intelligent as a human being? We have always talked about, can we? How can we? But have you ever considered, should we in the first place? We are so engrossed with what we can do, all the leaps and bounds that we can go to, that we haven't stopped to think if we should. What are the moral, ethical, and legal ramifications of making a machine that thinks like a human, has emotions like a human? These kinds of AIs could be used to replace some human jobs, some jobs that require no thinking. But if these AIs are intelligent enough, they could even replace jobs like the psychiatrist. We may think that the job of a psychiatrist is so incredibly personal and so deeply connected with another human being that surely a robot cannot replace that. But if the feelings and emotions and thoughts of an AI that is equivalent to a human, then surely its emotions are just as valid as the human beings. In fact, even today, many people, due to the cost of hiring a therapist and due to the unavailability of a therapist, they are turning to AI therapists. And this also raises another question. Because the emotions and thoughts of an AI are as valid as a human beings, then if we are keeping them enslaved under us to do our dirty work for us, isn't this morally wrong? And even on top of that, what if these AIs, these robots, are fed up with us, and because they are as intelligent as us, they wage war against us, or they completely replace us, meaning if all humans die out and we are replaced by robots? What can we do to stop this? I think that these questions should be explored before, not after something like this is created. All of these questions, all these concepts have been already covered by a lot of fiction. But I think if we are ever going to go to such high levels of technological advancement, we have to bring these concepts from fiction into reality if we have to reach such high levels of technological advancement. And there are three questions to end this speech. How will AI replace natural intelligence? I think it will do that through a combination of quantum computing and normal computing. Number two, why should AI replace natural intelligence? I think AI can replace natural intelligence because, number one, we are facing a labor shortage, and number two is that they are able to do some of these jobs better, even if they require a human connection. And number three, what kind of steps should we take to make sure that AI doesn't become a danger to us? I think we have to put in place moral, ethical, and legal frameworks to make sure that these AIs are represented just as well as human beings. And now that you have all learnt about this, I want you to stop and think. Every time you interact with an AI, I want you to think about how powerful AI is getting, and I want you to be aware of AI developments in the future so that you can keep up with this technology. Thank you very much.